July 8, 2014, a German tourist named Lars Mittag, while at the Varna airport in Bulgaria, suddenly started running away in fear, while leaving behind his belongings, left the airport, climbed a fence, and was never to be seen again. June 30th, 2014, a German citizen, Lars Mittag, went on a holiday to Varna, Bulgaria, with 5 of his close friends. Their destination? The famous Golden Sands Resort. Lars was admittedly excited as this was his first time traveling outside of Germany. After arriving, the holiday was nothing out of the ordinary. They went to the beach, went swimming in the pool, playing sports, and went bar hopping. Unfortunately, things would take a turn for the worse. Only a day before they were supposed to return home, Lars Mittag got into a heated argument with some other German tourists over football at a bar. Mittag being a fan of the Werder Bremen club, while the other German nationals were fans of Bayern Munich. The argument luckily did not escalate any further, and both parties went their separate ways. Mittag separated from his group of friends after this event and met them again the next morning back at the resort. He had a bad news, however. He told his friends that he got beaten up during the night. Exactly who beat him up is up for debate, as his friends offered different accounts to the police. He possibly could have been attacked by the 4 German nationals he had an argument with the night before, or some locals that had been hired by the German nationals. Regardless of who did it, his jaw was injured and his eardrum was ruptured. Obviously, he went to the doctor, and the doctor advised against him going on a flight that day, as the cabin pressure during flight could worsen his condition. He also prescribed him 500 milligrams of the antibiotic Cifprozil to fight the infection. While his friends wanted to stay with him, Mittag insisted on them leaving as planned, so that's exactly what they did. Mittag checked out at the resort and checked into a hotel that was much closer to the airport and cheaper. After a day passed, however, he started to act paranoid. He called his mother and told her that some people were trying to kill and rob him, so she should cancel his credit cards. His panicked actions were all caught on CCTV, pacing up and down, hiding in an elevator, carefully looking out windows, and he also left the hotel at 1 a.m. to return 1 hour later. His actions during this 1 hour is not known. In the morning, he once again called his mother, telling her that his pursuits were only getting closer. On July 8th, he was last seen at Varna airport. Before he went missing, however, he talked with the airport doctor, Dr. Costa Kostov. Dr. Kostov would later describe his behavior as erratic, nervous, panicked, and just anything but calm. Even though Dr. Kostov told him that he was good to take a flight and go home, he was hesitant to leave and confided in the doctor about his doubts concerning the medication he was prescribed. Unfortunately, at this exact same time, a construction worker working at the airport walked into the doctor's office, leading to the trembling Mittag to flee the office while yelling that he does not want to die here. He left behind all of his belongings, including his luggage, wallet, phone, passport. His last documented sighting was an airport security camera of him fleeing into the forest. There are many theories and speculations as to what could have caused these extreme levels of paranoia in Mittag, but no definitive answer was reached. His mother, German and Bulgarian doctors speculated that Mittag's severe paranoia was due to the rare side effect of the medication he was prescribed. This medication is known to induce psychotic side effects including hallucinations and paranoia. But Dr. Kostov said Mittag never actually took the medication. He never even had it filled, so it was impossible for him to have taken that medication. Even though his mother said that he had no history of mental illness, sudden mental breakdown due to undiagnosed mental illness is another possible explanation for this case. Some even think he could have been suffering from brain damage caused by the beating he took. Some internet sleuths believe he was actually killed by the German nationals he got into an argument with, and they had a vendetta against Mittag. After he fled the airport, what happened to Mittag is not known. Police found nothing that could lead to his whereabouts or fate, while his mother hired a private investigator, and that PI looked into hospital records for patients with identification and John Doe's. Even though Mittag had experience in certain survival skills, many have doubts about his survival after so many years. The Despite that, however, his mother still believes that he is alive to this day but is suffering from a memory loss. There are many possible sightings of Mitang that have been reported over the years. For example, in 2015, a truck driver saw him hitchhiking in Varna, and in 2019, a truck driver gave him a ride but only came to know about the case later on and said that the hitchhiker looked exactly like Mitang but just older. Mitang is described as being 180 centimeters or 5 foot 11 inches tall with dark blonde hair. He also has a scar on his left forearm. If you have any information regarding Lars Mitang, please contact his family through the Facebook page Find Lars Mitang. March 8, 1984. A 17-year-old Kelly Lynn Disney disappeared after leaving a party due to getting into an argument with her boyfriend, only for her skull to be found 10 years later in an abandoned car. Just before her last year in high school, Kelly fell in love with a 20-year-old named Robert Ellis. She wanted to move into his apartment, but understandably, her parents forbade it. But she threatened to run away from home if they didn't let her, so her parents relented on the condition she would graduate Newport High. Kelly and Robert's relationship was not a calm and relaxing one. While Robert liked to party, Kelly did not. On the night of March 8th, they had a party at their apartment with quite a lot of people. For some reason, Robert left the party, but Kelly stayed. However, she got mad at him and left as well. But Robert returned soon and went searching for her. Apparently, this was a common occurrence between the two. It was after around 12:30 a.m., March 9th. Robert caught up to Kelly standing on Highway 20 during a cold winter night, but he could not get her to get into his car and she left. After this, two men saw her walking in the night and offered her a ride, which she refused again. The man would stop at a convenience store next and luckily bumped into a policeman and told him about Kelly. The police officer called dispatch and the Lincoln County Sheriff's deputy finds Kelly walking the highway. The deputy offered her help, but she refuses, saying that she was just heading to her girlfriend's house nearby. This was a lie. Robert and their friends went out several times to look for her during the night, but she had just vanished. The following morning, Kelly's mother, Betty, came looking for her daughter, and after hearing what happened during the night, they filed a missing persons report with the Newport Police Department. But sadly, like many of these missing persons cases involving teens, the police labeled her a simple runaway case. In the following days, many searches were organized by Kelly's family, the Silas Valley Fire District, and the police department. But nothing was found, and the case unfortunately did not garner a lot of attention. July 25, 1994. Little over 10 years later, a man walked into the Newport Police Department carrying a human skull. Apparently, 2 days earlier, this man found the skull wrapped in a carpet in an abandoned car at Big Creek Reservoir. The man, for some reason, took the skull home, but his girlfriend advised him to take it to the police. So he did. He brought it to the sheriff's office, but only the jail was open. The jailers told him to bring it to the Newport Police Department, but it was Saturday, so their office was closed. The man brought back the skull home, polished it with dish soap, and put it on his TV for the weekend. This is like the most bizarre part of the story to me. Who would think to do that? Anyway, on Monday, finally, the man successfully turned over the skull to the police, and dental records proved the skull was indeed Kelly Disney's, and the skull had obvious head injuries. Suspiciously, the skull was found just a few days after the investigators went to the press to muster interest in the case. Apparently, they checked the area and the car before the skull was found, and they're sure it was not there. "We know somebody placed it there," said the investigators. With the discovery of her skull, interest in her case was getting higher, and the investigators wanted to look more into her boyfriend, Robert, but sadly could not make any progress in that regard. People believe this could have been the work of a serial killer, as 4 more girls were murdered in the following years. May 3rd, 1992, Melissa Sanders, 17 years old, and Shayla Swanson, 19 years old, both vanished after leaving a family campout, and their bodies were found 5 months later. January 27, 1995. Jennifer Essen, 15 years old, and Cara Lee, 16 years old, disappeared after heading into town, and their bodies were found 2 weeks later. These murders led many to believe that a serial killer was active during that time, and Kelly was the killer's first victim. In July 2020, Kelly's sister Angela Dodds and her family, not wanting Kelly's unsolved murder to be forgotten, placed 200 signs along the 2 highways in Lincoln County and handed out 2,000 posters with the simple message, "Justice for Kelly Disney." 36-year-old murder case. This campaign has been quite significant according to the two investigators working the case, Ron Benson and Linda Snow. Snow told YHS News that people have responded, even some people we wanted to talk to but couldn't before. We think we're close, and we have a good idea what happened.